Let me pose a hypothetical scenario. Let's say I made a new friend named Zeke, and we spent some time together. He spent some time with my family. I spent some time with his family. And it seemed like our friendship was really forming and flourishing. And then one day Zeke sat me down and said, Tim, I really enjoy spending time with you. I think we have a lot in common. There's just one problem. I don't like your wife. I don't like being around her. I don't like talking to her. I really want nothing to do with her. I just don't think that her and I can really be friends. So if we could still hang out, that would be great. But I just want nothing to do with your wife. And you think Zeke and I would have a very solid or long-lasting friendship? I'll tell you for sure, we wouldn't have a friendship. The reality is you don't get to be my friend and treat my wife like that. Now let's take that over to Jesus. If you're going to be a friend of Jesus, if you're going to love Jesus, then you must necessarily love his bride. And the bride of Jesus is the church. The gathered community of believers in Jesus. The local church is an expression of Jesus' bride. He loves the church way more than you or I do. And so if you are a Christian who says you love Jesus, then loving his church is essential to your faith in Jesus and to your flourishing in Jesus. So, do you love the church? Do you love the people of God? Now, whether you say yes or no, or maybe I'm not sure, can I just encourage you to pray that you will? Just pray and ask God to give you a deep love for Jesus' bride, the church. And here's the reality. This isn't just a good thing, it's a needed thing. Christians need community. Christians need the church. See, we shouldn't ask questions of whether or not you have to attend a gathering on Sunday mornings. That's not the essential question. The essential question is whether or not you really understand your need for the local church. See, if you understand your need for the local gathering of believers and the amazing blessings that God has for the Christian communities, then pursuing love with other Christians will become a priority in your life. And then attending church on a Sunday is just a given. Being a part of a local gathering of believers is just a given when you understand the need and the benefits. So why is then gathering as the Christian community, is what maybe we call attending church, necessary? The reason is so that we can encourage one another to love one another. I shouldn't say just the reason. There's lots of reasons, but let's look at this one. So that we can encourage one another to love one another. This is a passage we're going to come to numerous times in this series. Hebrews chapter 10, verses 24 and 25 says, "Let us consider how to stir one another up to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, as is the habit of some, but encouraging one another, and all the more as you see the day drawing near." Notice that part of the function of gathering as the local church, the Christian community, is to stir one another to love. See, this is the purpose and the benefit, or one of the benefits of gathering as the local church, that we are to inspire and motivate and teach one another to love one another. After all, when we love one another, the world will know that we are the disciples of Jesus. When we love one another, we demonstrate our love for Christ. So before you ask yourself if you have to attend church on a Sunday, ask yourself these more fundamental questions. Do I love Jesus? Do I love his bride, the church? The answer to those two questions should be the same. It should be yes. And if you're growing in your love for Jesus, then you will grow in your love for his church. If you're growing in your love for other believers, the local church, then you will grow in your love for Jesus. Which then should shape how you approach the gathering of believers. When you get together with the local church, say on a Sunday morning, you ought to make it your pursuit to stir others on to loving one another. Church should be an affectionate time. 1 Peter chapter 5, verse 14 says, "Greet one another with the kiss of love." Now culturally, we don't tend to greet one another with kisses. But we can still understand what he's getting at here. We greet one another with love. This is warm handshakes and hugs, friendly smiles. More than anything, we give each other our time. When the local church gathers, the Christian community ought to show affection, and I think we do this mostly through the time that we give people. By showing up with enough time to greet others and let them know that you're glad to worship Jesus with them that day. Don't rush out of your gatherings after the service is over. Spend time with people. Show them you love them. Give them hugs and handshakes. Greet their children. Build relationships with people. Listen, God has given us the gathering of believers, the bride of Jesus, so that by loving one another, we would stir one another on to love, and then that would stir us on to love Jesus more. Christians, if you don't love the church, then your relationship with Jesus will suffer. On the flip side, if you grow in your love for Jesus' bride, you will love Jesus all the more. Hi, if you found these videos to be a help to you, I would encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, as these videos should be coming out about every Friday, at least through 2017. Feel free to share them with your friends and family, and to God be the glory.